we're in Saul, and the Irish word for Saul is Sawel, which means barn, and tradition has it this is the cradle of Irish Christianity, and this is where Patrick would have celebrated his first Mass after having met Diku, the chieftain, and won him over with his skill of the language, and I'm sure his diplomatic skills as well. But they say Diku would have been his first convert at that stage, and his family. So they say Patrick went all over Ireland evangelising and preaching the good news, but he would have come back here in his latter years and he would have breathed his last here. And this is perhaps, it's hard to see because it's now a graveyard, but very typical of most abbeys in Ireland that are abandoned after the Reformation. People would have been buried here on consecrated ground. But about 8 years ago, 2014, I came here one day, and Queen's University Belfast Archaeology Department were doing a dig, and I arrived in the middle of the dig and there was loads of skeletons here, and I was speaking to the curator and he said, we're going to have to abandon this. I said, why so many skeletons first of all? And he said, well, this is where Patrick was. People wanted to be buried near Patrick. And if you can imagine this in the middle of a huge abbey, a bit like in Loreto, where the Holy House is, or in Saint-Maximin, where Mary Magdalene's head is, La Sainte-Baume. There's a similar structure to this. And these would have been places where they would have laid the bodies of saints. So at some stage after Patrick's death, he would have been laid here. The Saul people like to think that Patrick was laid here at one stage, and you would have revered the relic by kneeling there, or entered in through this little door here, this little narrow door. But this is a very holy site, the cradle of Irish Christianity. It's a beautiful place, and if you swing round there, you'll see now that in 1932, the Church of Ireland Archbishop of Armagh, Charles Darcy, arranged for this to be built in commemoration of the 1500th anniversary of St. Patrick's landing in Ireland. And then we're looking over here at Slieve Padraig, and the largest statue of Patrick in Ireland and in the world is there. We're in a really grace-filled territory here, and we could pray that Patrick will help us in these times to be effective evangelizers, to bring the good news to those who need to hear it. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I arise, Christ in the heart of every man who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in every eye that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me,